All right, good evening, good morning, wherever you are listening. It's another episode of Truck Talk because everybody's at home going to sleep, and I decided to hop out into my truck again. So, a lot to cover since my last. It's been a week since my last broadcast, except for the one live video of the fire that I was driving past earlier in the week. But yeah, a lot to cover. Where do I start? I mean, just a lot of things. Like the Philippines right now. I think I was in a Filipino restaurant. We were watching the news, and they were talking about how Duterte is going to pass a nationwide ban on smoking in the Philippines. It's already been banned there, but you know how things happen in the Philippines. They make laws, and then nobody follows it. In fact, my aunt always said that she likes living in the Philippines because there aren't as many rules as in the United States, and that's why she likes to drive there. But with Duterte, I think he's going to be upholding a lot of the laws there. So we're going to see a change in the Philippines. And that's good because the air quality there sucks. A lot of people got pissed off at, who was it? I think it was Claire Danes. Somebody went to visit in the Philippines and made a comment on how polluted the air is. And a lot of Filipinos were insulted and pissed off that she said something like that. But the reality of it is the water's dirty there and the air quality is dirty there because uh, they do a lot of burning of brush and trash and a lot of smoking, and the vehicles there also make a lot of smoke too. It's the mausok, the smoke coming out of the tailpipes. And last time I was in the Philippines, which was probably about 5 years ago, they were already making moves to try to move to like natural gas and solar to generate, and geothermal to generate a lot of the energy to try to get away from the pollutants. But Philippines is just hard. It's hard to breathe there, and it's really bad for their lung capacity, especially when most of my cousins smoke, my uncles smoke. When I go over there, I could have quit smoking years ago, and then when I go back, I'll probably end up smoking again just because you're surrounded by it so much that, especially when we drink together, you know, your inhibitions kind of, your standards are lowered, and you pick up a cigarette and you have to have one with the people you're sitting with. So it's kind of good. I like what Duterte is doing there. Duterte is a communist, tends to have more tendency towards communism, and which makes him an authoritarian. But you're seeing, at least when a leader says he's going to do something and he does it, the people follow. And actually, it cleans up the area, and more people are happy because you look at the crime going down. Tend to have lower crime in communist countries because the crime is coming from the government. The government actually oppresses the people. So if you're a criminal and you're competing with them, they'll kill you, which is like what's going on in China. Which kind of leads into my next thing about China. China's got. There are a couple things that I've noticed. I forgot the website offhand right now, but I was having dinner with my family down in Orange County, and a bus drove by. And over the past, I've been reporting about this One Road, One Belt Silk Road Agreement, new Silk Road Agreement that China's trying to form uh, to recreate the Silk Road of ancient past, where all that trade that was going on between Europe, Middle East, and the Orient is now resurrected again, so that China is now the head of the Silk Road. And a lot of it is the reason why we see Donald Trump flying over to China and to Saudi Arabia and to all these areas. He's going to go to Israel tomorrow, I think. He's building new pacts with all the people on the Silk Road, which I find it very interesting. The liberals are just dying. All those stupid people who follow liberals, you should be ashamed of yourself. They're really embarrassing themselves because Trump is just shaming them all. I mean, here he does a ban on radical Muslims, and everybody's like, oh, he's racist and he's xenophobic towards Muslims, whatever. And then what does he do? His first foreign trip is to a Muslim country, a Wahhabian Muslim country, but it's a Muslim country nonetheless. And guess what? Saudi Arabia likes Donald Trump better than Obama because guess what? Look at the pomp and circumstance that they put together in terms of a welcoming ceremony when Donald Trump landed, as opposed to when Barack Obama landed. They weren't even there. Nobody was there to greet him. So all you liberals like Obama, but the rest of the world didn't seem to like him as much as everybody seems to say they did. So we're seeing that right now uh, with Donald Trump. He's making all these trade PACs. He's also got Ford Motor Company is going to be investing, I forgot the exact amount, I think it was like $380 million in a new plant here in the United States. None of that is for the economy the way it is currently. Our economy is going to collapse. I'm telling you, it's going to collapse. That's why you're seeing all these countries starting to create free trade agreements, because new free trade agreements, not the former globalist ones. They're doing more nationalist ones to try to benefit their national interests, but at the same time maintain contact with the rest of the world. Because when the global economy collapses, the main drivers being among them the European economy, the United States, and basically North American economies. And, basically it's a global economy that's being driven by Western civilization, which is starting to fall apart because all the Democrats and liberals have just pushed so much debt to drive this. They opened up borders and allowed credit to drive the growth of globalism, which was successful for these past 20 odd years. And now it's come to saturation where you can only borrow so much money without making more of your own before you can't pay your loans back. And we're starting to see that. The debt has just skyrocketed. And so Canada right now is experiencing a real estate bubble like we haven't seen. They had a bank run as a result of it as well. And Canada pretty much followed the United States in changing their regulations so that if they need a bailout, it would be a bail-in, actually. It wouldn't be a bailout from taxpayers. It would be a bail-in by the people who deposit their money in the banks. Well, they had a bank run, so depositors were pulling money out of the bank. And if your bailout money is supposed to come from the bank and your depositors are running from it, good luck. You're going to need to bail out. In other words, you need to get a taxpayer bailout again. So, but they've temporarily quelled that bank run by getting capital investors, whoever those may be. I believe it's bankers, central bankers, posing as investment firms willing to inject capital into these banks so they don't go bankrupt and collapse. But anyway, I was shorting the market and was able to capitalize off of that. And I'm reading that there are record shorts on our economy right now. Currently, the market recovered a little bit on Thursday and Friday. It rallied back a bit, but doesn't mean our problems have been solved. It's a short-term capital injection in Canada, and we still have a problem with the real estate and the loans there. And in the U.S., we're getting tapped out. A lot of the automakers are making cars that are backlogged. Nobody's really buying them. You're seeing actually the used car market increasing. So the car dealers that sell the used cars, used vehicles, are prospering, but the car makers like Ford and other and General Motors, those companies are suffering because people are not wanting to buy them. The cars are too expensive, and they're tapped out on credit. So if Canada should collapse, I was studying that when the U.S. housing market collapsed, a lot of people fled to Canada. Well, our market's already collapsed, and they went to Canada to start the housing market there. It's possible that they could, when the housing market collapses in Canada, they could come back to the U.S., even though we already had our markets collapse and already our markets are back into a bubble territory. Our real estate bubble is not as bad as Canada's. And currently, I was watching a report where Brian Moynihan, who's the president, CEO of Bank of America, was kind of tossing around the idea that the 20% down requirement before you get a loan should be lowered to 10%. That's absolutely nuts. That will drive another real estate bubble here in the U.S., probably to match the size of Canada's. So do we have some still potential upside in our real estate markets? Even though I felt like our markets were going to crash, I think it's possible we could still have an upside in our real estate markets. And keep in mind, I'm shorting the stock market, but I've learned a lot of lessons in time. If I hear a lot of record short sellings going on in the markets, I'm probably going to pull out, because it's possible the central banks are driving people to short the market. They're feeding a story to get people to short the market, so that when they start to inject capital into the market to drive it up, all the shorts are going to start losing money and they're going to have to unwind. And if they unwind, that'll drive the market up sky high. We're seeing in Venezuela, most countries where there are collapses. Venezuela is a socialist communist country that's falling apart. and the people are going nuts. But their stock market is hitting record highs all the time. And they're having inflation like crazy. Government's printing money. Guess where they're putting it? They're putting it in the stock market. So governments will print, and put it in the stock market. And anyone holding the cash is going to get wiped out. So it's getting tough. I don't know what to say, because even though things are similar to 2007, it's not 2007. I also have read another report that George Soros is trying to take control of a Texas bullion depository. And so he's going to get control of precious metals. So typically precious metals are where you hide from overflowing or for out of control inflation. They're taking that away from everybody also. So where can you go? Cryptocurrencies? Well, you've got this ransomware now that's infecting everybody's computers and mining Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So what's really safe? It's really tough. When I was a commodities specialist, I had a mortgage broker who was my client. And we used to have this discussion. This was back in 2007-ish, almost 2008. And he would always ask me, he's like, what markets do you think are good to go in right now? And I said, you know what? It's so unprecedented what's going on here, because you have so much interference by central banking in the markets. We don't have a free economy anymore. If you don't have a free market, free economy, you have a command one of communism. Everybody wants communism and socialism, but you will never be able to make money there. The only ones who can make money are the ones in government, because they're the only ones who know what's going on and know where the money's going to go, where the manipulation is going to go. None of us are keen to that information, so they're going to totally manipulate our societies and screw us all over. They're trying to take us back to the days of kingship, of feudalism, where the kings owned everything and the peasants lived on the land, and the only reason you were able to live on the land is you were vassals, or you were basically indentured servants to the king, where he allowed you to live there, but you had to work his land. How do you like that? You know, communists don't like property rights, and that's basically where you're going when you don't have property rights. If you don't own your land and the king does, you are a slave on the king's land, and he gives you the right to work it so that you can pay him tribute. And if you're lucky, you make enough money, you become a nobleman, and he can knight you and train you to be a soldier to defend him. And basically the noblemen became the police of their time. But it was basically a monarchy. That's pretty much what a dictatorship is. It's no different than a monarchy. It's where you have a controlled hand who controls everything, and you're only allowed to do it because they allow you to have property, because they allow you to have it. But in reality, it's not yours. You can't tell what to do on the property. You can't develop your own houses. So, I mean, in a way, the communists have gotten us. They have said that the best way to destroy capitalism is to give it rope to hang itself. And that's the way it's been. The Democrats in our country basically push everyone to get freebies, which seem free, but the people don't think that it costs somebody to get those freebies. And if you're not working, you're only getting welfare. Where's the money from welfare coming from? The government doesn't produce anything. The government is a parasite. It taxes. That's what taxing is. It's taxing. You look up the definition of taxing. Not with regard to money. Just being the word taxing means it takes, to take from something. It's a parasite. So government taxes the people who work for their living. And so that's where they get the money to be able to give you all the freebies, quote, freebies that you want. There's nothing free. You're stealing from your future in order to get a freebie today from the government. So that's a philosophy that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit. It's like delaying instant gratification. People don't know how to delay instant gratification anymore these days. And that's the root of a lot of the problems that we're facing. I had an interview with one of my friends, Gabriel from Taiwan. He has a show there, and he did an interview with me. And he was talking about what problems do we face in the United States and in the world today. And I likened it to a spiritual issue. Because I'm Catholic, I talk about how the devil comes in and he's infecting all levels of society. if you don't like the religious perspective or the faith perspective of it, just look at it from the psychological perspective of you. If you can't delay your personal gratification, you will be a spendthrift. You'll get rid of the things that you want in the future in order to get it now. You want that instant now gratification, satisfaction, that you get what you want. And that's being pushed through sexual desire. Everybody's sexual desire is supercharged right now. And part of that's because of TV shows and advertising. Business is the biggest abuser of sexual desire. They take your sexual desire and they make you lust for things. Communism is great for that because it's a materialistic philosophy. Everything is based on materialism. They don't believe in spirituality because spirituality is immaterial. So that's why they're against religion, especially the Catholic Church. And this is precisely why Catholic Church is against communism. So when we have people in our church that are supporting communist type mentalities, they really need to check themselves on what they're supporting. They've got a cognitive dissonance there where, the communists only believe in material. So they don't believe in a spirit. They believe that each person's personality and life and spirit is only a result of scientific chemical reactions that are going on inside your body. And that's the only reason why you're, quote, alive. But that's not the way religion sees it. But on a psychological level, if you can't delay your instant gratification, then you will squander what you have today at the behest or for the sake of tomorrow, which to me is sad. I like to mention that I'm cash poor, asset rich. I mean, if I want cash, I can get it. I can liquidate. I have different types of assets. I have liquid assets where I can just liquidate them right away. They're in markets where there will be buyers if I decide to sell it. And then I have everything. It's like I have my wealth apportioned so that it's diversified. But I do a lot of studying. And I don't really give recommendations on finance. I just tell you what I'm doing. And if you decide to follow it, that's up to you. But, when I tell you I'm shorting the market, I'm not gambling like most people would do. Shorting the market can be expensive because you have to pay margin calls. If you're buying a short position and the price drops, you need to post collateral so that it's almost like borrowing money, so that the futures company or the options company that's allowing you to short the market can be assured that you'll be able to cover the position if it keeps dropping. So they ask for collateral in the form of what's called a margin call. So you have to have the money to be able to post a margin call. So when I'm shorting the markets, I'm not shorting the markets heavily. I incrementally increase my shorting position as the stock market is rising. Because I believe the stock market is going to fall, shorting means I'm selling equity in the stock market. So if I believe the stock market is going to fall, I want to be able to sell at the top. So as the markets are rising, I put a short position in so that if the markets drop, I'll lock in the price at the high point. But again, you still have to rent. The way I see it is like renting that position, because the longer you hold a shorting or leveraged derivative, you have to keep posting margin call. So it's like renting that position. But because markets take the elevator down and the escalator up, I want to catch that downfall because your potential to make money on that is very high. But if you're going to do that, you really, really, really need to study your markets. You need to figure out what's going to happen because they're very dangerous if it goes against you. And that's why like I was discussing with you, I have no idea what the markets are going to do. And I'm hearing that a lot of people, there are a record number of shorts on the stock market. And that can be dangerous because the central banks can use that to reverse the positions. If you have a record number of people trying to lock in this price by selling more stock or more equity than is available, kind of like what JP Morgan's doing with silver, it can be unwound if the markets are supported by the central bank. So if the central bank starts to raise the price of the stock market when everybody thinks the price is going to go down, people are going to lose money as the markets go up, and they'll have to unwind their positions. If they unwind their position of a sell, the opposite is a buy. So they increase the buying pressure that goes up. If the central banks start buying, George Soros, the globalist who wants to destroy our country, starts buying, and they know that a record number of Americans are shorting, those people are going to start losing money, so they're going to unwind their positions, and it'll drive the market higher. So I have to really think about whether I want to short any longer or not. I don't think that was a real crash, and I don't think it was sell in May and go away like I was trying to figure out. Because sell in May and go away and don't come back till Memorial Day or whatever, Labor Day, whichever it is. I have to go back and rethink about what that saying is. If you sell and go away, then that means the market wouldn't rally the next day and the day after that, which is what happened. The sell was on Wednesday, and then the market, it was like 372 points on Wednesday down, and then it came back 146, and then another 50 points on Friday. So it's not sell in May and go away when they're coming back like that. So be very, very careful. If you try to follow my strategies, don't just do it based on what I say. Do it based on your own education. I'm trying to educate everybody to try to protect everybody, but in reality, I don't know what's going to happen because markets are so manipulated. I am not involved in government, and I don't know what the government's doing. Today, I've like I said, I was listening to how George Soros is trying to take over all the bullion in Texas, and it saddened me to find out the people that I really learned precious metals from, a few of them have sold out to George Soros. If you don't know who George Soros is and you're a liberal Democrat, you really need to find out who is the billionaire who is financing all of your Democrats. So all your Democrats that talk about, oh, you should fight the 1%. You should fight those fat cats. They're getting financed by those 1% fat cats. Look at all the people supporting Democrats. You got billionaire George Soros, billionaire Warren Buffett, billionaire Mark Cuban. I mean, billionaire. You guys are the biggest hypocrites, and you are a stupid slave liberal if you think you're fighting the power and you don't realize the powers that enslave you are actually the ones supporting the politicians that you're voting for. You need to do your education, and you need to be open-minded. Like I'm open-minded. I just found out that a lot of my gold people that I was following are selling out to George Soros. I am not following them anymore. I did learn a lot from them, but I'm seeing that when it comes to money, they'll sell out to anybody. You get enough money, and I can't fault them for it. Like Peter Schiff sold out Schiff Gold to George Soros. James Turk sold out Gold Money. Eric Sprott of Sprott Asset Management, and that includes I forgot one of my mentors who also works for Eric Sprott. But anyway, they're selling out to the enemy of the world. He's trying to destroy the world so he can become the emperor. Star Wars basically is coming to reality. And we associate George Soros with the emperor. He seems nice at first, but then next he's the old guy in the hood and he's evil, yes, taking power of everything. So really, really start to follow what's going on. Donald Trump, I think, is trying to save us, but there's not much he can do. He's one man, and unfortunately the types of people who support him are the types that go, okay, I voted for you, now do it all. That's not the way it works. If you voted for Donald Trump and you support Donald Trump, support him continually. Support him through donations. Support him through movements. Support him by doing media like I do. And, really, see, look, at the liberals again were wrong about him in terms of his hatred of Islam. And now he's in an Islamic country. They were wrong about him with the Russian hacks. And guess what? It was one of their own staffers that released Podesta's emails and Hillary Clinton's emails and he got murdered. And guess what? The Democrats are not trying to find out who murdered Seth Rich. Instead, they're still trying to push this Russian hack narrative. Start using your thinking skills to figure out what's the truth and what's not. All right, well, I'm going to cut it there. I know my video is going to get long, and it takes forever me to save them and then to load them, but there was a lot to cover. There's going to be a lot to cover in weeks to come. Do I think there's another real estate market bubble coming? I think so. And then another crash? I think so. When will it be? I have no idea. But I'm going to continue to short the markets little by little as they go up. And if I see otherwise, a reason otherwise, I hopefully will be able to get out before everybody else does. Because I think that has a potential for the central bankers to really manipulate that market upwards. In which case, if I see it rally again, I should take my shorts off, wait till it rallies up, and then start shorting again. So anyway, I wish you guys luck. Learn as much as you can. So far, I'm liking Steemit. I'm at steemit.com at CryptoBear, CryptoFur. Crypto Bear is the one I wanted, and I didn't get it because somebody else got it. I'm at CryptoFur. CryptoPher. Almost like Christopher, but with crypto, and then fur with the PHER at the end. So CryptoFur at Steemit.com. You can follow me at The Magnificent at Facebook.com. I'm also on Instagram at InstaChris. So InstaChrisness. So if you follow me, try to follow me on all those platforms. I do have a YouTube channel, but I have 2 YouTube channels, and I don't really like YouTube, so I don't want you to go and support me there, because I mean, YouTube to me is finished in terms of monetization. They're pulling all of their ads from people they don't like. I hate censorship, so I don't want to support a platform like that. I don't really need YouTube to post my videos, but I still use it because it just makes it easier to transfer the links. But for right now, I mean, I'm doing my live videos on Instagram. Sometimes I do live video on Facebook, and you know, I prefer those platforms to YouTube right now. Facebook and Instagram hasn't been a problem yet, but that's it's a Facebook company, and Facebook also is doing censorship. So little by little, I'm trying to transfer everything over to Steemit, and I recommend you guys get on Steemit.com. It is our chance to make some money off of our own posts. It's a little bit more labor intensive, which means you need to post more, and you need to share more and comment more so that you can develop a network of people who follow you and who you follow, so that you can like each other's stuff. I see it like network marketing, except you don't have to join a business with money. You know, in most network marketing businesses, you got to pay in to be part of it. You got to recruit people. This is a way for you to do that same kind of thing with a social networking platform, except it doesn't cost you a thing to join. It costs you no money. You just have to see if you can get your own account. And once you get your account, you just post, invite your friends on. Hopefully they do the same thing, and you like each other's stuff. And by liking each other's stuff and commenting on each other's stuff, you generate this cryptocurrency called Steem. Steem, there are 3 types: Steem Power, Steem, and Steem Dollars. Steem Power, and Steem Dollars. How those work, just get on it and do it, and you'll learn as you go. All right, anyway, I'm going to clip this short. Follow me on those sites: Facebook, The Magnificent, Steemit, CryptoFur, and Instagram at InstaChrisness. Insta_Chrisness. All right, talk to you guys later, and hopefully I'll be able to do a video this week, or if not, I'll see you next weekend.